And today I'm here to talk about the blacks, right? It's been a long week for the blacks that are at home minding their business, the blacks that are at work doing their jobs, the blacks that are figuring out how to still dismantle systemic oppression, the blacks who are not worried about anybody else, but everybody is worried about the blacks, right? Oh, the blacks beat Canelo. Oh, Charlie Kirk got killed by whoever that is not the blacks, alright? And somehow the blacks get brought into this nonsense. It's complete nonsense. And today I want to talk about it because not only are all of you people who are making up scenarios in your head because of whatever you got, whatever issues you got going on, but even the blacks who are thinking that they are some religious, righteous police. And it's really, to me, not only counterproductive, but it's also performative outrage. I'm tired of the performative outrage. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? All of a sudden, some of y'all want to pick up podcast mics and have a conversation about this. Y'all ain't never done this before, right? And the thing is, for me, is I've taken several days. I've taken several days to actually consume and digest the information, let it resonate so that it's not emotional, right? I'm not lacking emotional intelligence. I'm not emotionally speaking. I'm not emotionally affected by this situation, which I'm not emotionally affected by in the first place. I'm going to be honest with you. But I think that what's going on right now is disgusting. I honestly feel disgusted. I am disgusted by my people who are trying to shame people for, not being performative when it all comes down to it, right? Even in the Canelo fight, I watch boxing as a boxing fan. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Mexican. I don't care who you are. If you're a good boxer, you're a good boxer. And that's all I'm looking for. So whoever the best fighter is, I assume is going to win. But then on the other hand, you see people upset that the black guy won. Are you guys fans of boxing? Or are you race warriors? So let's talk about that. Let's get into it, right? I need a couple things. I need for white folks to understand. Growing up in a black household, I know it seems to me like you guys are really, like all of you guys, all across the world, always are trying to get the attention of black people, right? Like you're really loathing for the attention and the reaction of black people. And then you get mad when we don't have a reaction. Over the last several months, I've seen black people attacked for situations they have nothing to do with. So the so-called black American, right? You're not out there in the streets fighting with us against ICE. But then Crawford beats Canelo and all I see is monkeys. And race baiting. But we the same people you want to get outside and march with you? Make it make sense. And my thing is, I would come out there and march with you if I believed that you were an ally. But it's too many of you like it's too many of my own people who are agents, right? Who don't wish me well. So if you think I'm going to put myself in a predicament, a vulnerable predicament, right? You got to think. Some of us is vigilant. Some of us really understand the game. If you think that I'm going to put myself on the front line, back line, middle of the line for some people who would kick me down in the middle, you're smoking dope. Right? I don't know, and we'll talk about the Canelo situation before we get into the meat of the conversation today. I did not know, which I should have known. I'm one of the understanding what's going on, but also oblivious to really to me it's just so retarded that Latino people would be trying to beef with black people. Under no circumstance do I think that is intellectual. Unless, of course, I understand that you're a mestizo and a lot of your DNA is European. And regardless of what you claim to be, biologically, you cannot deny your European ancestry, even if you have a small percentage of African ancestry, right? So every time, and what I've learned is, it wasn't just Latinos that wanted the black guy to lose because he was the black guy. It was also Europeans at fight parties upset that the black guy won. Which I've always understood that a certain people have been accelerated past my peoples, not just people, certain peoples have been accelerated past my people in a land, not only that is ours, but in a land that we built for free, right? And people who benefit from that power structure, right? It doesn't matter if you were out there fighting for ICE yesterday, right? And you wanted the helps of the blacks. Yesterday, which isn't yesterday, fight day, you said F the blacks today. We want our guy to win. When me, I'm thinking maybe Canelo wins this fight. I didn't look at race. If Canelo would have won yesterday, I would have said, hell yeah, good for him. Not, the black guy lost. Oh my gosh, my world is ending. That tells me who you are. That tells me who you are. And it's not all of you. But the thing for me is, right, I'm not gonna, you have to pass an initiation phase, right? I follow the rules. I follow, not only do I follow the rules, I see how history played out. So when I look at the Black Panthers, I see that the Black Panthers were infiltrated by my own people. So why in the world would you think that I'm going to give you more leeway than I'm going to give my own people when I'm not even giving my own people that type of grace? Everybody got an initiation process. Because I need to understand, are you going to infiltrate my system? So don't act like it's me against you or it's you against me. No, it's you against you. Because you got a problem. You got an internal problem that you got to figure out. I don't look at you like you look at me. I'm not ready to throw a monkey in the chat because my guy lost. Right? You got some self-reflecting that you need to do. Don't come out here asking my people for help when your sick ass is going to be talking about them tomorrow. And why I call you sick is because you don't understand the oppression and the discrimination and the prejudice that your people have experienced from a certain group of people, because you have been accelerated past my people. So you look at me like I'm beneath you when I could never be beneath anybody, because I'm an Aboriginal. And that's what you have to understand about me, is that in my people, see, I'm not usually here for telling the business of what happens in black households, but I want you to understand this one thing. There's nothing that you can say that will make us feel like, oh, he called me a monkey. Who cares? We don't care about things like that. Will you potentially get your ass rocked? You might, because it's a respect thing. If you don't respect me, then you think that you can dominate me and control me. And I think that that's the problem with people, is that when it comes to psychologically, physically, emotionally, historically, you cannot dominate us like you want to. You want full control of our minds, our bodies, our organs, our spirits. You're upset that after all that we have experienced, and still I rise. And that every waking thing, we don't make it about, that really upset me today. But we just go on about our day. In the past few years, what have you been seeing? Us just going on about our days. Y'all be chirping. Let the YNs deal with y'all because they want to be on the internet trolling with y'all. I don't care. Not gonna care. You can't make me care. There's nothing that you can do. That's what you have to understand at some point. Find a new target. Because there's nothing, it's nothing you can do with us. Like how, when people say, like, when Clarissa Shields might say, and I don't even know, it ain't nothing you can do with me. It ain't nothing you can do with me. Because I'm protected by the Most High. You see, when that sun beams on me, it's my source. Actually, it's not only my source, but I'm a source for the sun. And that's what you fail to understand. Right? And my people, going into this Charlie Kirk, whatever. What you guys have to understand is, I don't know you. That's what I think people are not understanding here. Is that a situation turned into black people versus everybody when black people wasn't thinking about nobody. I didn't know what that guy's name was. I seen that guy one time. He was debating somebody a few months back, maybe even a year ago from now, from today. He was debating somebody, spewing nothing but misinformation, and was called on the misinformation that he was spreading. And that was the first and the last time I ever see. He vanished. He was nothing, nobody to me. When somebody said something about him the other day, I said, who is that? Then I seen a picture and said, oh, that's the dude that got cooked. You guys are making this a black issue when black people didn't even know who this guy was. in a state, because I went to school in Utah, in a state where ain't that many niggas. Let's be clear. At an event where I didn't even see any. When the person 200 meters or however far he was not in white face. He was a white face. But for some reason, I'm watching videos. It's like, white men unite. White men unite. We can't let this happen. You can't let what happen? See, psychologically, something is wrong with you. But I understand that. Biologically, something is wrong with you. Right? See, I don't talk in parables. So even when my people are like, he didn't mean it like that. He meant it like, no, he said what he said. What happened to I said what I said and I stood on what I said? What happened? Because I'm a free speech warrior myself, right? You guys like, he's a free speech activist, right? No, I believe in free speech. And I don't necessarily think that everything that he said was wrong. That's why you have to be unbiased, right? I am not a DJT fan, but are there things that he says that's accurate? Yes, but what do they say? A broken clock is right 2 times out of the day. So just because you're right some of the time doesn't mean that you're right all the time. Actually, if the clock is broken or right 2 times out of the day and there's 12 hours on the clock, then you was only right. You was only right 2 times and you was wrong 10 times. So you shooting at 20%. So why the hell would I listen to you? And that's my problem with people, is that I got my people on the internet like, you guys are only listening to snippets and clippets and da-da-da-da. No, I'm not. Your assumption is that that's what's happening, is that people are only looking at clips. Maybe because you're only looking at clips. But before I judge a person, right? Because a lot of you people say, you're not supposed to judge. The Bible says, actually, I've read in plenty of scripture that actually I am supposed to judge you, because if I don't judge you, that means I don't hold you accountable. If I don't hold you accountable, you keep doing the same stupid, reckless shit that you've been doing. So that's some bull. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the false prophecies. I'm tired of acting like when you open the scripture, it was just everybody just running around here holding hands and walking over rainbows or under rainbows. That's not what it was. Stop acting like that. You're spewing false narratives that never existed, and they're not. Because why? If you read the book, not only did you read past, but you read future prophecies. So you know what's to come. Do you want to be led astray? You're letting people lead you astray. My thing is, Satan can come into your face and say, Jesus is king. Because Satan's job is only to deceive you. Right? And I'm not calling that man Satan, because I don't want to bear false witness against that man. Although I believe that a chosen people is a chosen people, and everybody is not a chosen people. And if you and I'm not talking in parables. The book wasn't about everybody. Let's be clear. So, you guys are like acting like this man was talking in parables and he had some great Da Vinci Code to discover. No, he said what he said. I don't listen to some of his debates. I done went on his page and looked at the stuff that he wrote in black and white. And my thing is, if he didn't mean what he said, then tell me something that he said that was positive about your community. I'm not even, matter of fact, your community. So anybody that ends up watching this, when I say your community, I mean whatever that community is. My community happens to be the Aboriginal community. That happens to be my community. So when I look at it, I look at what he said about my community, right? And like I said, were some of the things that he said even about my community, were they wrong? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, you don't get to police my community. You don't. Because you don't wish no earthly good for my community. And if you do, point out a video that was positive about what he said about my community. And not of disgust and disdain. Even the tone of a person could tell you how they feel about a person. Right? When I say things like I say, I don't speak in parables. You don't gotta solve a puzzle. Everything that I say, you can read somewhere. Neanderthal DNA. Why are these people so aggressive? You can't inherit racism. Actually, I believe that you can. I think you can inherit racism. Because I think that epigenetics, right, the coding of your DNA that's passed through your DNA, defines who you are, not only biologically and physical traits, but psychological traits are passed down, right? The psychological traumas are passed down. So your people got a thrill off of watching people being lynched, hung by trees. As children, you would see white children like 5 to 7 years old looking up in trees, laughing and smiling at black bodies. Like it was Hanukkah. Hanukkah. Juneteenth. Juneteenth. Speaking of Juneteenth, what did he say? Burning BLM flags should be legal. Because the man wasn't speaking in parables. He said it should be legal to burn a rainbow or BLM flag in public. Why should that be legal? Even if all of you 10 million people, whoever's listening to this, even if you believe that it should be legal, why is that something that you thought that you should broadcast? What is the purpose of that? Right? Just like saying importing millions of Muslims is civilizational suicide. Europe must stop or die. Last time I checked, we are not in Europe. We are in America. Ameru. The civilization of indigenous people. Not Europe. You want to be in Europe? Take your ass back to Europe. It's that simple. Crawl back up in the cave that you came out of. See, when I speak clear. I said what I said. And I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to the ones with the ideologies that he has. Because I know that when my ancestor, Harriet Tubman, was in the Underground Railroad, freeing the slaves. You know who helped her? It was white folks that helped her. It was white folks in the slave revolts helping black people. So I ain't talking to everybody. I'm talking to everybody with that ideology. Right? They can't inherit that. Racism isn't inherited. Actually, Chronos complex. Michael Bradley. Dang, why I can't think of the name? Michael Bradley. No. Michael Bradley. author. Oh, I ain't gotta even look at Michael Bradley, The Iceman Inheritance. Right? Which tells you, through many anthropological studies, what is this aggression that these white people have to conquer people? Because it is a condition, psychologically, biologically inherited. And it's important that people understand this, because when people sit in front of their phones and type out paragraphs and I'm talking to my people, right? And get in front of the camera and pull out the scripture and say, God says, love everybody. Love thy enemy. Man, you keep going with that and you'll be conquered again. Well, you're already conquered, but you'll be conquered in the ways that our ancestors were conquered. Right? When we as a people are supposed to still rise, we're rising, right? We started here, and then they brought us here, and now we're rising. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to descend. But some of you guys are still in these docile, like, yes, massa ways, where you think that uplifting your enemy or people who are against you, because another thing you gotta look at is like, I'm an enemy of yours, but I'm not thinking about you at all. And actually, the more that you think about me, the more you prepare me for yourself, right? So my people who keep getting behind these cameras, there's only, like, if somebody has a tone and they're speaking in a tone and they're speaking with conviction, and the things that they're saying are not progressive to your people, and the clips that they're posting are not progressive to your people, why are you trying to gaslight people to think that they meant something else that they didn't mean? They said what they meant. You're just choosing not to believe it. Like Donald Trump just said, or whenever he said it, smart people don't like me. In your face, he said, smart people don't like me. Which means if you do like me, you're probably not smart. Same thing with this guy. I'm telling you, your community, I look at your community as savages. When they called you guys savages before, that's how I looked at your community. Your community is out here causing nothing but trouble and ruckus to the world or to this country, and you guys need to be stopped. When last time I checked, Nipsey Hussle, last time that I checked, we did not manufacture guns. We did not, we are not the founders of guns, right? Actually, you went to China, took the gunpowder, and then colonized everybody. So last time that I checked, you orchestrated and facilitated what you have today. Don't go and blame my people. Blame Ronald Reagan for putting drugs and weaponry into my community. And poverty. So mix drugs, violence, and poverty. Right? Into the rat race. Because it's a rat race. So how many rats are going to take each other out to get to the cheese? It's going to be a lot of dead rats. And actually, this has all been facilitated and orchestrated and scripted, because you can go back to Calhoun's rat maze experiment from the 30s or 20s, I believe, 1921, in the 1940s, where he actually bought out land, his neighbors, something, a whole bunch of acres of land, and started doing rat maze experiments and putting rats into projects, right? The projects that look like what you live in, like what the projects look like today, right? And seeing how it's a social experiment. And in that social experiment, you got everything that you see today, from homosexuality to celibate rats, right? Rats that they don't want nothing to do with nobody, right? The antisocial rats to the hypersexual rats to the rats that wanted the hierarchy. Everything that you see in society today is what you see in that, because this is nothing but an experiment. This is nothing but a social experiment, right? And everybody is playing a part. So you have to understand what part you're playing. If you're getting on the internet and regurgitating to me the lies and deception, and then saying God has something to do with the lies and deception, no, you're part of that problem. Because like I said, and like I'm going to continue to say, the man said what he said. The man said that black people are, or I don't even know if that's what he said. I don't want to say what he said. He said something about black people being recipients. Oh, there we go. He said, in comparison to, not restitution, reparations, that black people have received something $1 trillion in food stamps and welfare and this and that since whenever, right? First of all. Whoa there. First of all, last time I checked, anybody can get food stamps, welfare, etc. That is not designated to Aboriginal black people. I am sorry. Secondly, I haven't received any of those benefits. So actually, where's my check? Since you said that we're all recipients, so what about us that aren't receiving those benefits? And I'm sorry, when I get reparations, I want my reparations to be for my people solely. I don't want you to, like, I didn't get none of the Holocaust monies. I didn't get none of the money that y'all got from letting your slaves free. I didn't get none of those reparations, but your people benefited from that. But then you'll tell me, no, that's not what he meant. Well, what did he mean? Then I want you to also tell me if he wasn't a divisive person, because he chose to post the things that he posted, right? So what you're telling me is that the clips that he posted were to get attention because he wanted to race bait. He wanted to be a race warrior. And the thing is, to go even further into that, the people that follow you, to me, right? If you have 10 million people that follow you, and then when something like this happens to you, they rage. And they blame marginalized groups of people that had nothing to do with what happened to him. And they start creating race wars, right? Or fueling more race wars, right? And then you say, he didn't mean. So why are the people that follow him, right? And they want to continue his legacy. But what I'm seeing is racism. how can I misconstrue who he was? I can't. Just because you put Jesus behind something doesn't mean that you mean well. Because like I said, and I'm going to say it again, Satan himself, herself, himself, whatever that entity, that consciousness is or was and is a master deceiver, manipulator. So you're telling me that you're easily to be deceived. And there's no need for you guys to have all these opinions. There's no reason for it. You didn't have an opinion before. You didn't pull out a mic for anything else before. Now you're acting like this guy was some type of martyr. He was a podcaster who used to go on college campuses and debate kids. He wasn't a master researcher. He wasn't doing things for all communities. He was a divider. He wasn't Malcolm X, and I'm really honestly tired of hearing everybody, Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King. Y'all never want to bring up this dude. Ever. Because y'all not like that. And they not either. They don't never want to bring up this dude either. Because they know if they bring him up, they will await the consciousness, the energy that he spoke. And when you talk about free speech, when people like this guy, when he spoke, he would have been seen as a racist. He wouldn't get the same type of respect as this person that you're calling a martyr. Right? The person that was lifting his people up from their bootstraps, for real. And telling them, as a Muslim man, by any means necessary. We don't believe in violence. But we do believe in protecting ourselves. Because again, everybody ain't a YN. Everybody ain't a thug. Everybody ain't no gangster. But that thug, that YN, you know where that comes from? That comes from them epigenetics. That comes from that warrior in you. Whether that be a Zulu warrior or a Choctaw warrior or an Aboriginal warrior or an Aida warrior or a Sands warrior, a Bushman warrior, or a Khoisan warrior, a Moor, an Israelite. All of that YN gangster thug stuff, that's where that comes from. Yeah, we taught y'all how to conquer a people. The Moors, they taught you how to conquer a people. Nothing that you've done on your own. It's chickpeas for brains. Tuna salad. Don't act like you invented something like you superior. They're taking white jobs. What is a white job? A corporate American job. That is a white job. On a land that I've created. In a world that we've created. In a world that is ours. Yeah, I'm the 7-foot alien African American. Yet you're an American, but you're from Ireland. But I'm the African American. Make it make sense. I don't want to sit here all day with it, because it's been long enough. But I'm tired. I'm tired of my people like, Master, please, yeah, waiting. Like, come on, with your old, goofy, slave having ass. Boy, stand up. I said this over a year ago. Get off of your knees. And today I sit here again and plead with you, you Aboriginal Negro. Get off your knees. in Matthew 13, man, I can read you in Luke, John, something that says something completely different. Stop using the Bible to brainwash my people. You niggas. Anywho, I want to end this with some Malcolm X. I want to read some Malcolm X. So I'm going to start with this one. When his master says, we have food, the house Negro says, yes, we have plenty of good food. We have plenty of good food. When the master said, we have a fine home here, the house Negro says, yes, we have a fine home here. When the master would be sick, the house Negro identified himself so much with his master, he said, what's the matter, boss? We sick? If you know Malcolm X, I mean, even I think Paul Mooney even used this in one of his stand-ups. His master's pain was his pain, and it hurt him more for his master to be sick than for him to be sick himself. When the house Negro's house started burning down, the type of Negro fighting harder to put out the master's house than the master would himself. If someone came to the house Negro and said, let's go, I'm gonna end up cutting this. This is the part for me to you, how I feel about a lot of y'all right now, is if someone came to the house Negro and said, let's go, let's separate, naturally the Uncle Tom would say, go where? What could I do without boss? Where could I live? How would I dress? Who would look out for me? That's the house Negro. If you went to the field Negro and said, let's go, let's separate, he wouldn't even ask you where or how. He'd say, let's go. And that one ended right there. And that's how I feel with y'all. It's like every time I tell y'all, and we're going to go further into this, because this is exactly Malcolm X, however many years, 1948, however many years ago this was, is me today. Saying the same things to people in my chat, my inbox, trying to debate with me. And I tell them this. And when you say your army, he says our army. He hasn't got anybody to defend him, but anytime you say we, he says we. Our president, our government, our Senate, our congressman, our this and our that. And he hasn't even got a seat in that hour, even at the end of the line. So this is the 20th century Negro. Whenever you say you, the personal pronoun is in the singular or in the plural. He uses it right along with you. When you say you're in trouble, he says, yes, we're in trouble, right? And that's how I feel every time I talk to you. I just say, our. This ain't your shit. You ain't the president. You ain't the chief in command. You ain't the vice president. You ain't even a vice lord. And you talking about we. Like you making some decisions around here. Until you understand that you ain't got shit. And you ain't shit. And I'm not saying that you're not. I'm saying to these people, you ain't shit, you ain't got shit, you ain't never gonna be shit. Until you understand what's going on here, you always gonna be tap dancing. And talking about Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John. My words is downloads from the Most High. Right? Everything, like I said, everything that you say, I got plenty of scriptures I can say that say, actually it says this, that, and the third. And don't worry, I'm putting together something for that too, so that when you want to see every battle in biblical scripture, see, I don't separate religion. I think that's another thing. You a Muslim, you a Christian, you a this, you a that. I don't separate the word. If we look at the word like historical facts, right? There was a prophet over here. There was a prophet over here. Jesus came from here to here. Moses travels from here to here. Abraham travels from here to here. Then how? John traveled from here to here. Solomon from here. And they were all scattered over all of this land. And they wrote in stone, engraved, what they prophesied, what the Lord was telling them, their experience, their downloads. And then you say, but that's the Muslims over there, and that's the Christians over there. When literally, if you put the books together, you'll say, oh, this all ties into one thing. We're not supposed to be separating our religions and being even more divisive, but we're actually supposed to be looking at this like sources of historical information, because that's exactly what it is. So with that being said, that's all I have for you today. I know tomorrow is going to be Monday. So I know for the next week, I got to hear about Charlie Kirk, Kirk, whatever. Right? And I don't believe that anybody should lose their life. But what I do know is that if I'm going to be a martyr, right? I've always told myself, if I'm going to be out here, if I ever get as big as Malcolm X, right? I can die behind this. If I ever get into the Black Panthers, I could die behind this. Are you willing to die behind it? See, Charlie Kirk, whatever. When he got behind those microphones, he should have known. If I'm talking like this, I gotta be willing. And 10 million people are following me. So if 10 million people actually either like or dislike me enough to follow me, that means there has to be another at least 2 million that don't agree with anything that I'm saying. And I'm telling you right now, it wasn't black people, because we didn't know who he was for real. I wasn't checking for him, looking for him, never even seen his page ever come across my screen. I seen him one time in a debate before the election, and that was it. Didn't go look him up, didn't know his name, didn't care. I thought he was just a scrub debating, just two people debating each other. And he happened to be spewing misinformation. That's all I thought. Nothing more of it. I didn't know this guy had 10 million followers and people who actually sat there and praised him and said, hey, we're going to put a statue up because he was the next Martin Luther King Jr. This is blasphemous, honestly. And I am disgusted. You guys are disgracing yourselves. You guys are disgracing the country that you say you love so much. You want to uphold the European ideology. Make America white again. White people don't even follow you. The ones that smart, like he said, only you dumb, hillbilly, trailer trash, goofies is following that. And you're poor, so he don't care nothing about you besides you being a race soldier. You inbreds. I'm not speaking in parables. I'm speaking in plain black and white English. Everybody should be able to understand what I'm saying. Get your together. It's not happening. It's not happening. Whatever you think you got going on, you KKK, white supremacist, crazy skinhead crackers. It's not going. It's not happening. It's not. So, even if it is, we will haunt you in your sleep. You'll never be able to breathe, to live, have a peaceful moment in your life. I'll let you know that right now. Because even my spirit will haunt you. So with that, I say to my people, peace, stay militant, and stay vigilant.